Hi, this is Tanner, Rissa, and Willa. We're accomplishing a lifelong dream of ours to live internationally, and we now call Germany our home. With so many new cultures, religions, landscapes, and foods to experience, we have been busy immersing ourselves to our new life abroad, one country at a time.
In 6 short months, we have traveled to Iceland, Greece, and many other nearby countries. We've had tons of crazy experiences, like chasing a guy down who stole our backpack in Croatia and crying when we first laid our eyes on the Dolomites.
We've explored picturesque fairy tale villages in the gorgeous Bavarian Alps. We've even found our new love for German bread. Early on in our marriage, we realized we are in control of creating the life we want and we don't need much to do it. So, this is us documenting our big and small experiences as a little family. We are travelers, foodies, and nature lovers with the goal to serve others, prioritize meaningful travel, and create lasting memories. This is our story to tell.
Hey everyone, this is Tanner and Rissa from Our Story to Tell. Welcome to our video today. This one's exciting for us. It is our Living Abroad Q&A.
Yes, and if you haven't checked out our video of us giving our update of how life has been during the past 6 months, go and check out that video. So we're answering questions that you guys specifically sent in. So via YouTube and Instagram, we've compiled them together and we're gonna give you the answers you're looking for.
So first question is, how long do you plan on living in Germany? That's a really flexible answer, but for the most part, 3 years is our minimum time that we're required to be here, but it could be up to 7. So far, our first 6 months have been a blast, so we see no reason to go home just after 3, but we'll see how things go.
Okay, going on top of that, someone asked if we're gonna be going back to the USA when we're done here in Germany, and that's also a really good question, and we don't know the answer to it.
So typically 5 years is the maximum amount that one can spend overseas at one duty location or multiple, but sometimes there are exceptions. So it really depends on if all of those puzzle pieces fit together. So whether we went here and then to another country for those 5 years, or if we went 5 years here and then extended, it just really depends on a lot of variables. So we're not really sure, but eventually we will go back to the US. It's not a permanent move for us over here, at least for now.
One of our biggest dreams of life is to do travel full-time, even if it's just for like 1 year, kind of like a sabbatical leave. So even though we'll end up in the States, we want to do a lot of exploring, even more than we have at this point. So who knows?
Next question is if Willa is going to be doing German school or kindergarten here, and she is just about to turn 2, and we've had a real tough time getting her into a German kindergarten. Like you've called, what, 8 or 9 or dozen schools?
Well, I've emailed them, and even today I emailed 3 to be like, can I please put her on the wait list? Like, someone.
So that's something that we're trying to get her into for sure. We want to get her into that integration, get her speaking German. She'll learn it a lot faster than us for sure. As far as grade school goes, probably not unless we're still here at that point. So we'll see how things go.
Which that seems crazy,
that
she could even potentially, if you're here for 7 years, be in school. It's crazy. Okay, what we do. We have a lot of people who are just confused. What the heck do you guys do? So I'll start and then I'll let Tanner take it away. I'm a registered dietitian and I work from home. I teach nutrition education classes online. It's really awesome. I get to pick my schedule and it's kind of the perfect job with us being overseas. Other than that, YouTube is getting busier and busier, so that's kind of my second part-time job.
As you may have seen, I do work for the US government here at an Army installation base. I work for the Public Health Command doing industrial hygiene work. What is that? In a nutshell, we do a lot of preventative measures to help organizations have health and safety practices in place, making sure that things that they're exposed to today, noise and chemicals, doesn't affect their overall health, that they have the right equipment there. So in a nutshell, if you want to learn more, you can surely send us an email or a message and I can go into more detail. It's a lot of fun, and honestly, I love it. I get to have like my own little nerdy math sessions and science experiments essentially, and it's pretty fun and exciting.
Okay, so to clear it up, Tanner goes into the office. He can work a couple days at home. Again, I'm 100% at home working part-time. But how are you able to find the job? Someone had asked that question.
USA Jobs is a list where most federal government jobs are posted, if not all of them. And this is something that when we were back in the States, we had been looking and seeing a lot of overseas opportunities. To go in a little more detail, we had offers to go to Japan or to the UK, but we ultimately decided Germany because of the opportunities, a lot of good feedback we'd heard from people who had lived here, and it's very central to Europe, which was a huge part of why we came over here. But that's how I found it, and that's honestly how most people who are over here find out about these jobs.
Yeah, I was just going to put a plug up. If you haven't seen our Moving to Germany series, we really show you guys and talk you through the process of what we did. Like, we started recording even before we knew we were going to move to Germany. So there's like Tanner going into an interview and us just like figuring it out. So if you want to learn more on that aspect, start there. Start at part 1 and watch until we find out that we have the job. So there's a lot more info with that, and even one that we could even do our separate video on it, because there's a lot to learn, and we keep learning, honestly. So the next question kind of makes us laugh, because they're like, how in the heck are you able to travel so much, not only financially, but with time off? We'll get to the financial thing in just 1 minute, but time-wise, we really don't have that much.
No, honestly, we carried over about 3 weeks of PTO, or paid time off, from the States, but that was because we were doing house renovations. We were really stingy. It was COVID season in its fullest, and so we kind of saved up a ton of it. Plus, I was able to work a little bit extra during those weeks and save up, so that when we were over here, we would combine weekends and holidays to the max, And so that's what we've been doing. We do a little bit shorter trips than most people typically would for these, but it's because we're only 4 to 8 hours away, and so we make it happen.
You do it or you don't, and we make it happen as best we can.
So funding all of these trips has came from our savings. We've just done a really good job of budgeting and saving, and so that's honestly what it came from. It's not like we were loaded with a ton of money and we've got all these extra things that are coming in. So just kind of budgeting over a long period of time has been the real bulk of it. Which leads us into our next aspect and question is, why in the world are you guys living in this huge house and it's just the 3 of you, right?
And they're like, why are you putting like half of your paycheck or whatever percentage to rent? But we're actually not.
Thankfully, part of my job over here is we get a living stipend, which includes getting pretty much your housing paid for and utilities, which is huge.
I mean, rent free, you guys, like 100% rent free.
And that was one of the biggest perks for us, because coming over here, we knew that rent was going to be a lot. You know, most places are around 1,500 to 2,000 euros, even out here in Bavaria. And that's a lot more than we would even be willing to pay back in the States. Like, our home mortgage wasn't even that much. So that's something that we really took into consideration. We looked at that as a great opportunity for us to save more, to be able to travel while we're here, and even just save up in general for the future. If we did have to pay for our own housing, then that would be a completely different story. But regardless if we booked a 1,000 euro studio apartment or this house, it was all going to be paid for. So for us, it was really going to be a great opportunity for us to just have a good place that we loved, that we were comfortable with, and we found this one. Don't forget to check that video out. It goes in a little bit more detail, our reactions, and just an awesome experience and timing that we had with this.
And one thing I want to mention is that when we were looking at living internationally, Tanner and I would talk, okay, financially, is this going to be a good decision or a bad decision? We didn't know how good it was going to be until we actually even got here. Honestly, our perspective was, we want this life. We wanted to experience everything that Germany could offer, and finances weren't our first priority.
So the next couple questions are about our adjustment and moving over here. The first one is, what was the most difficult part about adjusting that you didn't experience? And then the flip side, what wasn't as difficult moving over here? Probably organizing everything once we got here. Housing, car, and all of our stuff. Like, that was probably the most stressful thing. It just kind of took us by surprise there.
There were so many appointments we had to set up, like things like that just like appointments, meetings, scheduling.
And don't get me wrong, there is a lot of help there for it, and it would be a lot easier than just moving by yourself, because you have resources. I had coworkers I could talk to and relate with. It was a lot easier to transition than I think just coming over by yourself without someone to talk to about.
So what wasn't as difficult was COVID. By the time we found this house that we're living in now, the restrictions started to open up. So it was like the next week or two where we could go and stay overnight as a tourist, which is really awesome, because up until then, we didn't have the time or the headspace to even start planning and jumping into travel. So it came at a really good time, and we were concerned, like everyone, when are things going to open up, and we got lucky that way.
Very lucky, very lucky. So speaking of COVID, people asked how we are doing trying to meet new people amidst the pandemic and then a new country. Honestly, it's a really tough one, because I almost work 100% with Americans. Thankfully, I've been able to meet a couple more Germans here and there over the last couple of months. Thankfully, through YouTube, we've been able to meet with a lot of people and a lot of Germans and make friends online and even meet some in person. So that's been really great.
Yeah, and they're really meaningful. Like, for example, we went to Hamburg and we went to lunch with one of you guys. You'll know who you are when you watch this, but he hosted us, and it was just so amazing to be able to sit down, get out of our comfort zone, and create this relationship. And we've done that. You guys have seen Katie in our videos. She reached out to us via social media too. I mean, you guys are just awesome, and we love being able to create those relationships. There's so many more of you guys who've reached out to us, and we want to be able to, meet you guys. We just obviously have to take it a trip at a time and one person at a time.
Yeah, having those realistic goals is huge because we can't meet everybody, right? And we don't want to set that expectation that's what's going to be. But we also want to know that we really appreciate it. Someone asked if we had had a hard time. Someone asked if we've had a hard time finding a church to go to, and it's been really easy for us. We stayed right next to base where my work was, and right across the street happened to be where our church, the same congregation from back in the States. So instantly we had a connection there that was easy. We found out the time, we've got contacts, and we've been able to do that when we're in town. And so it's been really easy, really seamless, to be honest.
And really, that's where we've been able to meet a lot of our friends. All of them are American, so of course it's not like integrating us more into the culture, but it's people that we can relate to, and they get it because they're from America and they went through the same process as we have. So that's really nice. We got a lot of questions about missing home, how you guys can make that jump for yourselves to live abroad. And to answer that question, yes, of course, we miss friends and family. We miss them a lot.
For sure. It's been tough, especially now that fall is starting to hit. And we just have these memories that fall time. I don't know, it's a transition from summer. You're going to be spending more time inside. Holidays, game nights, food, playing Settlers of Catan, if you know what I mean, until midnight. And, later than that too. But
good thing there's the app, and we're on there.
Play online, so if you want to lose, Marissa's ruthless.
I am.
But one of the hardest things is that Willa is growing up so fast, and parents, grandparents, they're going to be missing a whole year of her life at this stage where she's developed her personality so much. So that's probably one of the most difficult things so far.
Yeah, I mean, we left when Willa was a little over a year, and so she was just starting to talk, just starting to see her personality. And I mean, as you guys can even see in videos, she's growing so much, and it really does break my heart knowing that it's going to be a year plus until family get to see her again. But I mean, that's kind of what comes with the gig, and we knew that. We knew what we signed up for. Luckily, there's social media, so we really try and stay in contact. That would be our biggest advice is, one, know that that's part of the gig and just a con to moving abroad and moving far away from family. And then two, do your best to stay in touch with them. We try and make it a big priority to contact our family, especially our parents, at least once a week. Extended family and siblings past that, we do our best.
What is the thing we missed the most besides family from the States?
Ranch.
Chick-fil-A.
Seriously, all the food. I mean, we've really been trying to immerse ourselves as much as we can with German food and, food from all the countries we visit, but there's a few favorites. Indian food, we have not had Indian food like we have in the States. Not yet, at least. I'm sure it's here, we just haven't found it yet.
So the next few questions are German specific, and the first one is, has living in Germany made you be more German? Or are you more correct than you were before, with a winky face? So we think this is asking that we follow the rules better and that we try to do things the right way by the law.
I don't really know, but that's our interpretation.
And if so, then yes, I think so. I think we're taking time to slow down a little bit, not be in a rush on the roads, not be in the rush for just everyday life, taking things slowly, not feeling like we have to get everything done just because we can get things done to get them done. But on the flip side, we still have those tendencies that every now and then we do like to go on a crazy weekend long trip, and we do like to get
every now and then.
Every month and then.
No,
weekend
we
then.
love to travel, obviously. That's something that actually one of the questions was asked of, did you guys do too much too fast? And I mean, that's a great question. And to a lot of you, maybe it appears like that. Maybe it doesn't. What you don't see is a lot of our time at home. Obviously, we're showing our travels. That's what this channel is focused on. So you don't see the moments in between where we really are chilling and just home and relaxing. We try and find a good balance with it. It is a lot though, and we are happy that we're going to be able to keep it closer to home as, you know, the weather changes and it gets colder. We have plans to just stick around more, and we are excited for that.
Yeah.
We wanted to go busier and crazier this summer because who knows even still what's going to happen with COVID, and we had all the motivation and energy from moving here. But now we are ready to slow down. So we went on our pace. It's probably different than other people's pace, but no regrets.
One thing to also mention on top of that is when we spread our videos out over 3 weeks or 4 weeks, then of course it makes sense. And everyone's like, you've been gone all summer. And in reality, we've only taken off 2 weeks, which compared to most people in Germany, like they get 2, 3, 4 weeks at the end of the summer. And that's, you know, that's just what they do. And they take that time all at once. So it's just different how we've gone about traveling. So that's probably the biggest difference. And something very important to point out.
Do you have contact with your neighbors? And yes, and it's because our landlords live here next to us. So our landlords and their kids actually live near us. So that's fun.
But outside of that, a lot of them are farmers. They're busy. They kind of keep to themselves. So other than just waving and saying hello, that's about it. Eventually, I think I want to start trying to get to know them, at least by name. But I know a lot of people, and it seems like a lot of them are more reserved than most. So maybe typical Bavarian, but also we're kind of the same way. So
we have made some friends at our little local park, so that's been fun.
Okay, how do we learn German and do we watch German TV? So a couple videos ago, we've went over how we've used Lingoda, we've used Duolingo. I almost forgot. The reason I almost forgot is because it has been weeks since I've used it. But I also chat with a good friend from Bochum, Marcus. Hello. It's just been kind of like random times here and there. And then when we have been traveling a lot, that has been probably the biggest exposure when ordering food, when in the grocery store, when asking about tickets, things like that. Of course, we could take the easy way out and always ask if they speak English, but I've done my best to try and practice what little German I do know. German TV, no.
We don't listen to it.
I've tried to listen to a couple songs here and there, and that's good because then I'll read the lyrics and watch it. But in general, we're not huge TV watchers.
Yeah.
Typically, like the weekends, we'll watch a movie and stuff. And honestly, at that point, we're just gonna watch something in English because
we don't have very much time to watch it anyways.
We want to enjoy it,
Yeah.
and eventually, we might get to it. I might get to it, but who knows?
Yeah. We also like to read books and do stuff like that. So it's like, where do you put your free time? You know, which bucket do you put it on? So to wrap it up, we were asked if we've become Germanized. I don't know exactly. We're trying to become more Germanized, and each day we're trying to take hold of the culture and just keep on learning. Even when we went up to northern Germany, I mean, a whole new world was open to us of what Germany is like, and we love that. We love finding out more of the diversity. So I think so, in the fact that our perspective of Germany is changing and it's growing and ever evolving.
And our last group of questions are focused on traveling. We've touched on how we've done it with time and finances, but a couple of these questions are more specific. So first one is, how do we deal with the currency exchange? And that one's fairly easy. Credit cards are pretty universal now, right? So you just have to find a credit card that's not going to charge crazy international transaction fees or foreign transaction fees. And so fortunately, we have American Express and Visa that we use. Visa is the primary one that's accepted everywhere. And then on base, if we do buy anything on base, it's pretty easy because things are in dollar there.
We make sure to go to a bank when we're going to pull out money because it's much cheaper. The fees are far less compared to going to your local ATM. So that's one major tip, is go inside of a local bank. Even when we were in Ludwigsburg, our past video, hope you guys watched that one as well, we had to stop at the bank because we were out of cash. But it was nice, it was open and really quick.
And one last little tidbit on that, we do use a debit card to do any ATM transactions from Charles Schwab. If you have more questions about that, feel free to reach out. I gladly will talk more into detail and give you more information about that.
Yeah, we also had to set up like a German bank for like paying housing. So there's been like more things that we've done, right?
For sure. For our German bank account, we use N26, which a lot of you recommended. Thank you very much. Very easy setup, very easy payment options, and it's all on my phone. So I don't have to worry about going into a bank for any of that.
So obviously this video is focused on living abroad, and we're definitely mixing in travel and a couple other specific questions into it. But when it comes to traveling, people are wondering what's been our favorite place we traveled to while living abroad? What's been our least favorite?
I mean, it is really hard because there's pockets of almost every trip that we're like, oh my gosh, like this is the pinnacle of this trip. This is equally as beautiful, or this is better than this place, or I'm feeling it more here than there.
It's hard to pick a favorite.
We've been blessed to see a ton of amazing places.
I mean, how do you compare? Lastly, people are wondering, why should they live abroad? What are the advantages of it? And from our perspective, why would we try and get someone to live abroad?
I think our overall perspective of living abroad has changed since being here, and it's for the better, right? I think you just get a better picture of what it is. It has its high moments, it has its low moments, but overall it has been a really great growing experience for our relationship. And then again, it's just allowed us to learn so much about Germany. A lot more than either of us even knew before. We were pretty naive, to be quite honest. So if you are thinking of moving abroad, I highly recommend it for many reasons. And one, it gets you better perspective. It makes you realize that there are so many things to learn. And it really humbles you in a lot of ways, but it also just makes you more grateful if you're thinking about it, that you take the leap. Obviously make sure it's going to be a good fit for your future and those who you're depending upon, right? But really, I say go for it.
Yeah, I mean, the largest growth that happens is when we're in those moments of uncomfortableness. And I mean, this YouTube channel has helped us a lot to do that, but even if we didn't have the channel, like we would be stretched and pulled out of our comfort zone, and that's where we want to be, because that's where growth happens. And Tanner talked about how closer we've got as a couple and a family living here, and it's so true. Like when you're away from your family and friends, you have to rely on each other, you have to be there for each other, and so it's just so good in so many ways. And the perspective that we have of just people, everyone really in the world is just growing, and there's just so much understanding that comes from it. The perspective you're able to get is unlike anything. You have to do it to understand. No turning back. Hopefully we can have the chance to even live in other places and just better understand other people in other parts of the world as well. We hope you enjoyed this video. It's just been fun. We're trying not to say that because we say it's been fun all the time. It's been chill to sit and have... But it has. I love this, to just being able to have conversations, one-sided conversations albeit, but you guys are there. We're able to just give you more insight to our life, and it's fun, and it's cool.
Thanks again for your question, guys. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell, and we'll see you on the next video.